Baby doll, you've returned to me. PulseChain, privacy. Could it be our path to 250x for PulseChain? That's something we're going to explore today. I've already made a video. You should watch it. PulseChain privacy feature, pump 120x. I went and did more research into this. And by the way, make sure you click notifications. Like if there's anybody on YouTube you have to put on notify, it's me. Okay? I watch every single other YouTuber. Nothing like what I'm providing. Not even close. Okay, so I've made a tweet thread here. And where does it stem from? In my video, I've got it paused here. Richard Hart very suspiciously started tweeting about financial privacy. It's a prerequisite for capitalism. ZK's zero knowledge money, Ethereum privacy right here. This is Richard Hart. Everybody's got a personality, right? The guy doesn't know how to tell a joke. He is like full logical minded, okay? He is not like a comedian type person. He is leader, logical, problem solving, okay? That's the type of person he is. He doesn't throw like super comical stuff out. And when he does, it's like it's pretty bland. So when he tweets something like this, there is intent behind it. I think privacy, if it got to PulseChain, would make it the killer application. Because, I was skeptical with everyone else. I'm like, man, how the hell are we going to make PulseChain better than everything else when there's like 30 other EVMs, man? We're all the same. Yes, we have the Hex community, but is that enough to get us to the size of BNB, Cardano, and everyone else? Is that enough? No. We need an edge. And I believe privacy is the edge. And I went and did more research. See, in this video, this is part 2 now you're listening to, right? I left out a very important note here. Monero XMR is banned from many exchanges because it has automatic privacy. You can't reveal yourself even if you wanted to with the technology in it. Monero, they're still trying to crack it. Government agencies are paying money, millions and millions of dollars. Go look it up. There are some scum betrayer companies in crypto who are trying to crack Monero for the government. You can go research it yourself, and they are still trying to crack it. So the government wants to crack Monero. But I thought, okay, this made me nervous. I'm like, oh, crap, man. What if PulseChain gets banned with privacy? So I went and did more research. And now I brought to you this thread. So there's a privacy coin called Secret. I know it's a funny name, right? It's a secret network. And skip all the boring details. You can do DeFi with privacy. You can have hidden transactions. And firstly, the first thing I thought was, okay, it's getting banned 100%. But then I did more investigation into it. And I started seeing the difference between this and Monero. And yes, there's different technology, but it's the principle, the legality of the issues. With Monero, in my research, I found out that your privacy is automatic. Whether you want to be hidden or not, you can't. You can't show yourself, okay? But with Secret, you can opt in and opt out. So you have the option to be private. And this really helps you if you get pinged by a government agency, If they say, hey, Link, show us the information on like this wallet you've withdrawn from an address, you can send them the information and say, okay, I'm revealing to you, here's my info, here are all my wallets, right? And when you reveal it to them, it doesn't get revealed to everybody else on the network. So you are private to everyone else, but if the spotlight comes onto you from a government agency, they want to check taxes, they want to check whatever, you can reveal it to them. And then my mind started going, and I think, you know what? This would actually pump Pulse up to near the top 10 spot. In my opinion, it should be above 80 billion market cap in the next bull market. It should. And we're going to go through where those numbers come from. But first, we're going to read through my thread, okay? We're going to read through it together. So privacy on PulseChain, the path to 250x. And as I've mentioned before, I made a YouTube video speculating on the secret killer feature for PulseChain. I think it's going to be privacy. Okay? I think this would give PLS and PLSX 200x pump power. I don't know how it's going to be split between them. You know, maybe, I don't know, maybe PLS is 200x, maybe PLSX, PulseX, the DEX is only 1/4 of that. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong and they both kill it. Trust me, I hope I'm wrong. I really hope it blows expectations higher. Okay? Because I'm not selling early. Okay? Now, I've shown some pictures here. Secret. I looked up Secret. I'm like, wait a minute. This is a privacy thing, and it's still on Binance. It's not banned. You know? Some of these things, not all of them are banned. So I'm trying to figure out what is allowed and what's not. Now, obviously, Richard Hart, with billions of dollars and lawyers and gigabrain, he's probably figured all of this out. But he's not going to sit here, come and talk to you and me about it, because one, he's giving away his edge, and two, that's time taken away from, you know, releasing PulseChain. So, Secret DeFi, right? You can see it here. It describes all DeFi that use secret contracts. Apps that allow you to trade, invest, lend, and borrow on Ethereum. But with secret contracts, your user data is private by default. This means your financial details can't be viewed by anyone else unless you choose to share them. As a result, secret contracts protect your financial assets from spying eyes, hackers, MEV bots, front running. While viewing keys and permits allow you to share your details with third parties, like an accountant or an auditor. Ding, ding, ding. Isn't this perfect? This is absolutely perfect. And you're thinking, okay, why this random coin on this random network that no one's ever heard of but me? Like, why even bring this to light? You know PulseX, Richard Hart, he got like the parameters of PulseX from XBoo. XBoo is on Phantom Chain, you know, like Spirit Swap and all the little ghost emojis. So I was very impressed because he's a guy, he somehow, through all the piles of poop and all the thousands of coins, he's got a very good eye for filtering what works. If you look back at all the successful entrepreneurs, right? You got Bill Gates, Stevie Jobs, all the greats, even Elon Musk, all of these, right? What makes them great? If you go read the books about what makes billionaires great like that, they're not regular people like me and you, okay? I'm a peanut brain. Maybe you're a peanut brain too, okay? They're not regular like us. People paint them like they are, like, oh, they're just a regular person. They like eating apples and like, you know, and having a shower. No, they're nothing like me and you. These people, they have a satellite in their brain. When they come across things in the real world, me and you are like enjoyers. Me and you are like, wow, look at those lights. Wow, let me drink some Coca-Cola. Wow, that looks cool. And then we move on with our lives. We are consumers, okay? Me and you consume. We consume content. These people are special. Entrepreneurs, high tier level entrepreneurs, they don't consume like me and you. They first consume, and then a part of their brain switches, and they go, oh, this is such a really good application for this random obscure thing of this problem it's trying to solve. I'm going to now store it in my brain and I'm going to write it down for the future. Maybe I'll use it again in 3 or 5 years. And that's exactly what they do. If you go listen to one of Richard Hart's interviews, I forgot which one, but he actually spoke like this. And that's how I knew all of my prophecies and everything I had been thinking about, I was right. I was on the right path, right? So he didn't even need to say this for me, this to be confirmed with me, but this is what I could see. So he would say, like, you know, you go to a website, like, oh wow, you know, these colors are cool. He'll write it down. He'll look at something else, like, oh wow, you know, maybe there's trash out there with like, maybe there's a crypto coin out there where they do 90 things wrong, but they'll do one thing right. He might be like, wow, you know, the way they marketed this caught my attention, or the way this logo looks caught my attention, or that's a good thing, you got a Telegram support group. Stuff like that, you know, little tiny things that me and you would just gloss over. We have no idea, for example, you know. That's one example, you know, like, or it could be like the tiniest trivial stuff that me and you don't even think about. For example, like, make all your mods have a certain color logo in their name in a chat group. You know, like such small stuff like that where me and you can't believe that it compounds and snowballs into something positive. That's how these high level people are thinking. That's why me and you, we are destined to be friends, and that's it. These are the people, they're conquering the world. They're the top 0.1%. I'm a messenger here. I'm just letting you know I can see that they're top 0.1%. And we're not trying to like overtake them or beat them or anything. I'm just trying to ride the coattails here. We can make a financial investment, and if we're right, it grows into something bigger. And if we're wrong, it all goes to zero and we lose. Okay, so we just have this opportunity. That's it. There's an upside and there's a downside. So I've been able to start figuring this out. We're going to move on, okay? Next page. Where we go. Part 2, right? So, as I've explained, Richard Hart's got an elite skill of utilizing what works best in the real world. It could be like, like I said, colors and logos and different stuff, right? All these little things. Steve Jobs did it. Bill Gates did it. Every single entrepreneur, they do it. They're just great. Like, they go around into society, like they have a good time, and then they're like, oh, wow, that's great. I'm going to store that. Oh, wow, that website name's cool. I'm going to store that, Oh, let me get the guy who designed this. I've got to get his name. And they don't even use them for 3 years. And then they they go back to their list. So that's why these people are different, okay? So I found, obviously, already built his secret network. I'm sure there's other ones trying to be built out there, but this had the coolest logo and name, right? It's a secret, right? So it gives you the option to reveal your own wallet info to a government agency. So now I've written here, a potential issue with Monero XMR is that it's banned from some exchanges because of auto privacy features. On Crypto Banter, they did like all the influencers, biggest guys. What are your top 5 coins for 2023, right? Richard Hart's prediction was, instead of 5, he gave 4 and have to be released. 1 was Bitcoin, 2 was Ethereum, 3 was Hex, and 4, XMR Monero. I don't think that's a coincidence, okay? It does its job. It does its job. So I have here just a quick list of features here. So you can actually see these parts, how they all come together. So secret network. I mean, the name's so funny itself, right? So 1, you get protection from hackers and scammers. See, if others can't figure out how much you hold, you're much less likely to become the target of hackers and scammers. This is like a marketing to retail point. I don't think you're going to make this case to a government agency, right? So this is just like, we can throw that part away, because you could argue it both ways, okay? Next part, safety from front running and MEV bots. Okay, that's where they front run you. These people, these quant people, pure scum. They're just literally stealing from you. MEV, if you see someone from MEV, they're just scum. There's no other word to describe it. Imagine you were at the store, the supermarket. You got a bottle of milk. You go into the front of the cash register. Costs $3. And then someone takes it from your hand and says, well, it'll be $3.10 now. Or you've got to go to like the other supermarket across the road. And you're like, what the hell, man? You didn't tell me this before I bought it. And they're like, take it or leave it. That's exactly what MEV is doing to everybody on the blockchain. It's all digits and electronically, so you don't see a face to it. So we have no human emotion connection to it. But this is exactly what they do. They're just stealing from you. Okay? So you get to remove these guys. And these are the first guys who want out. Okay? Next one, the flexibility to share details and stay compliant. I don't think you have a true appreciation for how big this is, okay? So with Secret DeFi, you get privacy, but you can allow others to view your financial information. With the viewing keys, you get a viewing key, allows you to comply with financial regulators now and in the future. If you go and listen to some Richard Hart streams, I remember him specifically talking about how if you have employees, you can't possibly think it's normal to, let all your employees and contractors see how much they're all getting paid. That's not how a good society runs with capitalism. When he made Hex, whether you agree with it or not, I don't care if you like it, you don't like it, whatever. I just remember him saying his intent. When he created Hex, he made it future-proof ready. And that's why he made the unit bias so low for Hex. He made it, he made like billions and billions of coins, 600 billion coins out there. He made the unit price so low, so it was ready for world adoption. Okay? That's how his mind thinks. Whether you think that's right or not, that's not the point of this message. The point of this message is someone with an entrepreneur mind is probably thinking about privacy and details, thinking, okay, if I am running a smart contract blockchain with everyone else, we want it to be ready for the rest of the world, and we need privacy in there for capitalism to happen on it. We need it there. It's not just a right, it's like a necessity. And funny enough, if you go back to his message here, what does he say here? Financial privacy is a prerequisite for capitalism. Apparently, one can get it using DK money. See? Ethereum privacy. Makes you think. Makes you think, okay? So, we're going to keep going. Next message. So with these secret features, like I said, you can opt to stay hidden by default. And if a government agency asks you to reveal your wallets, you can send them a key and go, hey, check all this stuff, this is all I own and, I'm not a terrorist. So it stays hidden from everyone else. There's more information here. So it's secret network. They have like financial apps, DeFi apps. The specific tech, it's not the main issue here. He probably hasn't even heard of this. Maybe he hasn't, right? But I think the principle of this is the key killer feature. Because I thought to myself, and you're probably listening to this too, you think, okay, there's 20 EVMs, right? These are Ethereum virtual machines, right? Everybody is just copy-pasted, Ethereum, different logo, right? Different communities, but really it's the same thing, just right? But you got to think like, how are they separated? How? Because they don't have any unique applications. They all have a Uniswap clone. They all have like a MakerDAO clone, okay? But they don't have anything like unique. That's all public good stuff. But how would we make it unique? We could make it unique once you start putting privacy. In fact, if one of the chains did have privacy, man, that would be pretty good to build your business. Think about that. Because right now, if you want to do anything on Ethereum, it has to be public. We've made the most basic elements together, and now we're going to look for the new tech wave. So like, if you've been in crypto for a while, you knew one day privacy is going to come around. We just didn't know how. Because buying Monero doesn't get you anywhere. Buying like Zcash is trash. Barry Shilbert is sending it to zero. So the concept is there. We're just too early, So this is why, man. This is why you're in bleeding edge tech. It's hard. It's hard. If you're early by just a few years, like this thing might be the future one day, and it might be the norm for 20 years. And you're going to look back and go, man, these people tried to buy Monero in 2020. They tried to buy Zcash and they tried to buy privacy stuff, but it just didn't work, So we've got to, I think of it like this, okay? Privacy is an enhancer. It's a cherry on the cake, but it's not the cake itself. The cake is PulseChain. The cake is Ethereum virtual machine, okay? It's smart contract. That's the actual cake. But we've got to sprinkle some cherries on there, make it a bit more sweet. This gives it the edge. Everyone else is out there eating vanilla cake made by soy, okay? So much soy in their cakes. You can't differentiate yourself. This is what you need to differentiate yourself, okay? So, moving on, right? So with a typical smart contract, sharing this data would mean exposing it publicly, giving everyone complete visibility of their finances. So Richard talks about this as well. Like, if you're going to pay workers, pay suppliers, you can't have capitalism run like that. Humans were not ready to deal with knowing every single person's information out there, right? It's a mess. It's a mess. All of finance runs by hidden deals anyway, right? So we already know. Like, if this has to be ready for the future of finance, we need this. And I know a lot of people, you just see Richard twerking and outrage marketing and, all this other stuff, but you're missing the point, man. This stuff is just to grab attention. Like, this is phasing out. That's 2022 stuff. We're in a new year now, okay? Unfortunately, you can't actually buy PulseChain immediately. You're going to have to wait for the dip if you're not in. All of us, we're in from day one sacrifice. So, just give everyone hope, man. Like, don't sell this for a 2x and then cry if it's like 80x higher in 2.5 years. Because you are listening to me, your friend, telling you, hey, there was a path to go up higher, and because you paper-handed for a little 2x, so you can go buy some new woolly socks, that's on you, okay? That's on you. This is the first chance we have to get in without VCs who are just going to automatically dump on us. The first chance, man. I had to go buy Phantom and BNB and Matic and Solana. I bought all of them on the dips before 2020 played out. So halfway 2020 and to the end of the year, right before they went, a lot of them went on monster moonshots. But I had to keep DCAing and buying the low, right? And I wish I got in on the ICOs, man. I think Phantom was like 500x from the ICO. Or 100x. It was amazing if you were able to get in, but none of us were able to get in, okay? And we had no idea about any of the information. It was just VCs auto-dumping on our faces. That's what it would have been like for most of the coins. Not all of them, but most of them, okay? So, we're getting the point here. This would be the killer app. and you don't break any international rules. Like, you know, the government's like, you're a terrorist. You're a terrorist. You subscribe to your friend Tommy on YouTube. Show us your wallets. And then you show them the wallets. And they're like, okay, cool. You're just a degen. You're just a degen. Problem solved. Wouldn't that be beautiful if we actually got that? So, my fourth point. Now, we've gone through all the fundamental nerd stuff. This is where you're going to salivate at the mouth, all right? These feature would put PulseChain top 10 ranking spot. Because if a peanut brain like me says, oh my God, this is the only thing with privacy. And I know Richard Hart, really, when he gets on a marketing run, ooh, he can convince anyone of anything. He can sell snow to an Eskimo, that guy. He really can. And I think it would be such a strong marketing point saying Ethereum doesn't even have privacy. Imagine that. Imagine that talking point to new people coming in. Everybody can see everything you're doing. Everyone's watching you. Imagine that point. Now, you're in crypto with me, and maybe you've been in a few years, right? So we know this game. This is all fluff. It's all fluff talk. But me and you, we're already in. This is where most people get confused, okay? You are already in with me. We have already bought. Therefore, we can only dump. Okay? Most of us can only already dump. So, the job is done, right? We're already recruited. We now have to focus on the next 100,000, 500,000, 1 million people, 10 million people, 100 million people, okay? That's what the message has to do. Has to grab those next people. And they might be in a completely different mindset than you and me. For example, the people coming in, buying NFTs, JPEGs, Ponzi's, yield farming, right, and dick butts and stuff, they don't care about proof of work, liberty, anarchy, internet money, Satoshi law. They don't care about that. I'm not saying that's not a beautiful story and it's a great Genesis creation for crypto blockchain to free mankind. Of course, it's a beautiful story, but the facts are this. The next 1 million people don't care, man. They just don't care. So, what are you going to do? Are you going to play the game with me? Because I'm playing the game. Because I'm not going to sit here and watch the next Doge 220x happen in my face and not act. Okay? And I'm sure you don't want to either. Right? You're going to have family, friends, cousins, brothers, sisters, mum and dad, everyone around you. You can enrich everyone's life. You can enrich your own life, man. You can retire early because you can front run the crowd. This is the game. It's a game. Okay? You can't hate any player. This is just a game. This is exactly the game. So, this privacy feature, I think, would put PulseChain right up there. And if it's not built in directly into the chain, maybe like a common known application that maybe you connect to and it does it. I don't know exactly how it would work, right? I'm a peanut brain, right? My brain is just this space in here. Just little peanut, little cashew nut. But I'm thinking, all right, now this is where the juice comes in. The origin address can also pump bags as there is no international jurisdiction for it. So that's what we're here for, right? Are you here for a bag pump? I know you are, everyone is. So this is actually, I think, it all comes down to this, which is kind of funny to think about. If there is privacy feature, okay, and you were a benevolent dictator, you were the all-seeing eye, the protector and the guardian of the chain, okay, I think you would really like to use privacy if there was a mismatch of value in the market and you could come in as like the Federal Reserve, the buyer of last resort, or the ratio changer of last resort, you know? Maybe you think PLS to PLSX, so maybe you think PulseChain should be 4 times more value than PulseX, right? Maybe the ratio should be 1 to 4. But right now it's 1 to 10, you know? Maybe PulseX is 10% of the value of PulseChain, and you think that's too cheap. And you don't want people focusing on where that value's come from, right? This is an alternative to have. So you could pump bags, you could do stuff, and no one has to worry about it. And it's always in the best interest of the people. But this is the risk you take, okay? This is the risk you take. I don't have all the answers. I'm just saying, if I had like a little science experiment world and I was a master of the universe and I was doing it, I would need this and I would love this. So this is it, man. This is it. Like, I just think that the odds, remember, there's no guarantees in life. You just got to take a shot. Maybe this is our shot. And you need conviction to hold after a 50% crash, an 80% crash. You need conviction to hold when PulseChain goes up 9x and then it drops back down to 2.5x. You need conviction to hold. You need conviction to hold when there are YouTubers and coming out on Altcoin Daily and everyone else saying, Richard Hart is a scammer once again. Once they start making those videos, it's not going to be on the big green candle. It's going to be on the big red candle like it is now. That's when they're going to be saying that. And you have to decide, okay, why are we here? Do I think it's still a shot to go forward? That's what you have to decide. I don't have the answers. I do not know. It's a message for you, right? Bitcoin dropped 94%. There were people like Roger Ver, saying freedom and liberty, and people are going to value their own, the internet of currency, free from government, regulation and shackles and all this stuff, and we can actually like free mankind. Those are the guys you have to listen to, not when it's going up, because you don't care. Your bag's bumping. You got to listen to those guys when they're 90% down. That's when you have to listen to them. That's why I'm sharing this message with you. This is when you start paying attention. You got to remember this. That's why I think this thing should be 80 billion market cap, And we're going to get to the juiciest juice part of all juices. I'm just going to use Cardano, okay? Cardano, they're really similar to Hex community. And I think, obviously, just use Cardano with PulseChain now. It's pretty similar, man. You got a founder. He knows how to market. He knows how to speak to people. It's different styles, but they know how to work a crowd. We are peanuts next to them. We are peanuts. The founders, they're charismatic leaders. You have that double check. They have an answer for everything. Have you noticed? Go listen to any Charles interview, any Richard Hart interview, no matter what the interviewer says, these guys have an answer for everything. They're high-level people. That's it. Whether you think they're doing right or wrong, I don't care. They're high-level people, okay? The communities are also similar. A lot of Hexicans, they own Cardano. A lot. I know 4 off the top of my head. Many of them YouTube streamers as well. They own Cardano. So there's something about it that grips everyone, right? Really is. And this is Cardano's not price chart, it's its market cap chart. Up here, Cardano touched 100 billion market cap. Day one sacrifice for Pulse. Day one sacrifice for PulseChain. All right, non-origin address equals, I think it was $670 million, to be honest. I think it was around there. But I am going to round it up to 800 million because I would rather use a conservative number, okay? So I will consider 800 million the true value of storage by the market for PulseChain, okay? I think that's what it is. If you do 100 divided by 0.8, that's 125x. If PulseChain gets to 100 billion market cap, 125x. Okay? So, this is something to consider. This is a big thing to consider. And there is a chance it goes 250x. And this is where there's going to be more edge I'm throwing to you. When Hex happened, okay? When Hex pumped, let's go. Let's look at Hex, okay, here. Actually, let's look at the price chart, not the market cap chart, for absolute friendship, okay? Hex was about 14 cents here, okay? Hex was about 14 cents right here. And then the PulseChain sacrifice happened. The PulseChain, let's get this regular so you can see the power of the pump, okay? So the PulseChain sacrifice happened here. I think people who would have sold their Hex, put it into PulseChain, and they were removed from potential sell pressure, and then a mysterious hand helped pump us up to the heavens to hit 10,000x, okay? So the supply of dumping was removed. A big part was removed. A lot of people believe Hex would have stopped at 14 cents if it wasn't for PulseChain. I don't know if I exactly buy that, but I'm just trying to draw similarities. Maybe, you're going to forget this message in years, by the way. You are going to forget what I'm about to say. But maybe PulseX, PulseChain, they're out. And let's say PulseChain's up like 80x, 90x. And then, let's put a question mark, a wallet sacrifice happens. Or fiat exchange sacrifice, right? Maybe that happens. And maybe people put in their PulseX and their Hex, and maybe a similar event happens like that, and now the year is like 2025, 1 year after the Bitcoin halving. So maybe that happens, and that supply gets removed, and a mysterious hand somehow, wink wink, gets us up to the 250x multiplier. Perhaps, right? I'm drawing a scenario of future speculation. Very, very wild. But if you're listening to this, you got to know the stories of events, because you're not going to go to Cointelegraph or any YouTube influencer, anywhere else, to find what I just told you right now. So you got to remember this. You're also going to remember that you're going to forget this in 2 years. But don't worry, I'll be here reminding you, okay? So now we know the story that comes out. This is just a potential feature. What if privacy doesn't happen and nothing happens? I mean, it's possible too, but man, it'd be such a letdown. It's like, oh, here's the chain, go build stuff. You got to think, right? I don't put anyone's expectations up, but it just doesn't feel like we are going to be a stock standard carbon copy, right? Hex improved on Bitcoin features. It did. Richard Hart went to every single piece of Bitcoin. How can I change it, you know? Okay, with Bitcoin, you have to get money and buy a miner. And to do that, you've got to go to a Chinese company and say, make miners for me, and then send it. And then he's like, okay, how can I replace that? You know, okay, why don't I just buy the coin itself and lock it up? So he went to every single little part. He goes, okay, Bitcoin miners, they get an inflation rate, and then they dump the price, and then they don't have any lockup period. Bitcoin miners get the inflation reward today, and they dump. And he's like, okay, what if I gave the inflation reward to people who believed in the system more than those who want to quit today? You should get more inflation reward if you are locked up for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, versus someone who's locked up for like 5 days. You should get more reward. You're entitled to that. Okay, so if he went through every single Bitcoin feature and like picked it apart and did that to improve it, I think it's only reasonable to expect for Ethereum he's going to do the same. And he's going to future-proof it, right? So maybe this is an insight into what comes in the future. I hope we can look back on this and see, you know, if it's right, if it's wrong, or whatever. But at the end of the day, you now know if this is the home run and you were a little paper hand who got out for a 2x, an 8x, a 10x, okay, and you go believe all the FUD, that's on you. That's on you, okay, because you've been warned here. You got one shot. You got one home run in this, man. SHIB did 280,000 next. Good luck trying to find the next SHIB, okay? Because there's 9,999 just went straight to zero. Everything was a Ponzi scam. So you really have to make sure you take advantage of the home run. And that's why the final message is we are going to have a zone to exit 1 year after the Bitcoin halving, April 2025. We start peeling off 10%. Maybe it flurries up at the end of the year and it keeps going. We're going to be so protected because people are going to come in 2025 in April, and they're going to tell you that they're still early. And you're going to remember these messages going like, we're up in the clouds here, speculation. We don't even know if it's coming out or not. Did we get scammed? This is being early, man. We have maximum risk here. Maximum risk. Okay. You're going to wait for my next video. I love you all, friends. Subscribe, bell, notification. You know what to do. Catch you next time.